Yo, what is up, guys? Gamerverse back again, once again, doing another video for you guys today, man. So today we are reviewing a game called Green Hell. If you guys haven't heard about Green Hell, it is a survival slash open world slash first person narrative game that is quite old. It came out back in 2019, so it is about 6 years old. And yeah, it kind of still feels fresh today because of its game mechanics and how it compares to other modern survival games. It is still very much visually immersive on PC, and the game is actually out on console. So this video is for console players as well. And yeah, I'll be reviewing it. As you guys know how I do my reviews, I compile topics, and then at the end of the video I will give the game a final score. Hopefully you'll decide if you do want to play the game or not, and let me know what you think in the comments below. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So the realism factor of this game, I would say, is what really makes it brutal and quite unforgiving. The nutrient system in the game is just insane. Like how you need to stay up to par with your proteins, your fats, and your carbs, and you gotta make sure that you have protein and enough carbohydrates and enough water. It is very much a survival sim with very much lifelike mechanics. So you gotta drink water. You can't become super thirsty, or otherwise it will affect your health. Your health will drop, and if you don't eat something, you will also die from starvation. And you can also get sick in this game, so you got to look out for snakes, obviously, that can be venomous, and also look out for worms and all of these things that can make you sick. And overall it will affect your sanity, but also it'll also affect your health a lot. And there's also wound treatments in the game, and like I mentioned, there's infections. So you can get infected by many things in the game. You can get infected just by the rain. You can get a flu, and you gotta be treated with specific things. So taking all of these things into account, the game actually treats this like it is the game's objective, but it makes it quite cool, you know. So looking out for all of these leeches, parasites, and venom, and the sanity mechanic in the game makes it less of a casual game and more of like a hardcore, realistic forest survival life simulation, because the game leans into the jungle and leans into everything that could happen to you if you do get lost in the jungle. So without particular things that would, you know, make you die and stuff like that. But it is definitely very much in the game. You just got to find ways to keep it at bay and keep it, you know, keep it good. You know what I mean? So the psychological survival in the game and the sanity system was really interesting. You can actually get hallucinations in the game. If you do end up eating the wrong thing, you might trip. And the game even starts out with you drinking ayahuasca, and then you do forget something, so you drink that in order to get helped and in order to kind of regain your memory. But there's a lot of like tribal things in the forest, and you got to look out for these predators as well, because there's tigers out there. There's all of these animals that you would expect to be in the Amazon, and also there's a lot of tribes. The game is about tribes as well, and you are on an expedition, essentially, and you get lost in the forest, so your expedition kind of turns wrong, and now there's this constant paranoia in the game, and the jungle really just feels like the real enemy. It's not yourself. So the game has some combat mechanics, and like I said, the tribal people, you gotta look out for them. There's a little bit of fighting in the game, and you gotta either fight them or avoid them. In most cases, it's best to avoid them and use stealth mechanics. The game has a couple of stealth mechanics, and the combat sometimes feels satisfying, not at all clunky. Though the game uses AI from 2019, I would say it definitely holds up in the AI department, because there's some things in the game that are just really realistic, especially when it comes to how the animals react, how the predators react, and also how the tribes react. So that kind of brings me to the game's crafting and base building. The game has super in-depth crafting system, because you get to craft your own fires, you get to craft your own shelters, And I mean, it's realism versus convenience, and building all of these things is very satisfying because it takes time, and the more time you put into it, the more better you get at the game, and it's very much worth building your base. And having a base is a good thing because you have a place of solitude. You get to have sleep in the game. You also do need to sleep because you can get tired in the game and pass out in any moment. So I wasn't kidding when I said the game actually uses a lot of realistic mechanics in order to make the game what it is, and it compares to some other games like The Forest, even Sons of the Forest, and of course the very much underrated Stranded Deep. Stranded Deep is a cool game, and even The Forest, Sons of the Forest. I did a review for Sons of the Forest on my channel. You guys go ahead and check that out. But that brings me to the story mode of the game versus the survival mode. Is the story actually good? Yes, the story is good. The game has about two endings, so you do get to also pick choose dialogue, and there's a lot of emotional weight when it comes to the narrative because you are a guy that's on an expedition to find out research about these tribes, but you also end up going with somebody that you are in a relationship with. So you guys you share the same goals, but something happens and you guys end up being split apart. So half of the game is also trying to find your girlfriend or whatever she is, your wife, whatever you want her to be. But yeah, it does add the replay value with the game having two endings. You get to experience a different ending if you end up not enjoying the ending that you got first. There's another ending if you do want to do that. So I would say the story is decent. It's not like a mind-blowing story, but it's good for the story that it is when it comes to the kind of game that this is. And that brings me to the co-op experience. So the survival mode, you do get to play the game with another person or with a friend. If your friend has the game, you guys can go ahead and enjoy the jungle and try to survive as long as you can. It is fun, but there are some stability issues. But the game performs very well when it comes to the main mode, the story mode. But the multiplayer experience is a little bit different because you do have to actually have a good connection, and if you don't, the game can end up glitching a lot as well. So the stability is a little bit different when it comes to the co-op experience. But nevertheless, it's still cool. I did try out the co-op experience a couple of times, and it's not that bad compared to the original story of the game. Though I would rather prefer just playing the game by myself because that's how the game is meant to be played. But that brings me to performance, guys. How does the game perform? Is it well optimized? How many FPS do you get? And is there any bugs? Is there any stability issues? Does the game feel polished? In 2019, I think the game got about a couple of updates. There is a DLC as well that you can also play. The DLC is just a prequel to the story that you can actually enjoy and figure out why and how the protagonist came to the point that he came to. But the optimization in the game is good. I didn't have any bad experiences with the performance and the FPS. There was about one or two bugs in the game, but other than that, the game was performing really well. So I would say what it does like better than other most survival games is the realism, the how real the game feels, and how good the immersion feels, and also the atmosphere that the game is based in. Like being in the forest, it kind of just reminds me of Survivor the show, and how you got to survive in the forest and all of these things that could happen. But there's a lot of environmental storytelling as well, side missions that you can do in the game that really supports this whole idea of being lost in the forest and being left to nowhere and having to use your wits to survive in the forest. So there's a couple of things where it falls short. I would think the learning curve is where it falls short. So learning this game can be a little bit tough because looking at a book and looking out, there is a notebook feature in the game where you get to see things before you craft them and before you create them. So you gotta actually have all of these things before you create. So if I want to create a fire, I have to get sticks for the fire, and I have to figure out a way to light the fire. And all of these challenges in the game sometimes be a little bit much for people that aren't fans of this crafting system. So some people will definitely be a little bit frustrated and will definitely pose a challenge. And the UI and the inventory management issues, that can really scare some people off, and let them not play the full game. But once you get through that, I'm sure that you will have a very, very good experience when it comes to the crafting systems. And that brings me to the final verdict, guys. Is the game still worth buying in 2026? Who's the game for? Casual players versus some hardcore survival fans. I would say if you are a fan of survival games, if you have played something similar to Green Hell, something like Stranded Deep or The Forest, then you will definitely enjoy this game and you'll definitely like it a lot. Me personally, I'm not into the whole forest survival things, but I do end up playing these games. Like I played the Sons of the Forest. I played Standard Deep. I end up playing it because I'm very curious to see how the game will end up. And even though the game is not for me, I still did enjoy the game to a certain extent. And I don't think it's only for hardcore survival fans. I think it's also for casual players. So if you are a casual player, you can go ahead and give this a try. And if it does click with you, hopefully you will enjoy the full story, because the game takes about 20, I think 18 or 15 hours in total just to complete the story, and that's minus the DLC. With the DLC included, you're looking at about 25 hours in total. So I would say it is worth buying on Steam and on the PlayStation Store and on Xbox Store if it is on sale. If it is on sale, go ahead and get it for cheap. The game goes on sale all the time. It is a very old game, and also, like I said, there's some DLC with it that you can purchase. If you do end up liking the story mode, you can go ahead and get the DLC and see how your protagonist got himself in this situation. So, and yeah, guys, that is my review for Green Hell in 2026. Let me know what you thought, though. And the final score for the game will be a 6 out of 10. Or 6.5, 6.5 out of 10, in my opinion. So, yeah, let me know what you guys scored the game. If you did play the game before, if you're planning on playing it, let me know what you thought. And then also like the video and also subscribe to my channel for some more awesome videos like this. Guys, I've been Gamerverse, and I will see you guys in another video.